Hello and welcome. Today we have with us Farooq Tariq, who is one of the leading members of the political left in Pakistan and the General Secretary of the Pakistan Labour Party. Welcome, Farooq.
Okay.
If we look at internal issues of Pakistan itself, do you think that the Pakistan state at the moment is vis-a-vis fundamentalist forces is actually charting out a different trajectory than what it did in the past, which was really play into their hands and in some sense turn parts of the Pakistan state as frontal organizations for the jihadi organizations?
I think that relationship is changing now. What it was in the 80s is not at present time in Pakistan. We had jihadi camps in Kashmir and jihadi groups were really building up all their weekly and daily magazines, the electronic media, and they had massive resources at their disposal, massive madrasas, government subsidies to these madrasas, and it was like full backing of the state to the growth of religious fundamentalism in the 80s and also in the 90s. It changed after 9/11 to some extent because General Musharraf decided to join the war on terror group, the alliance.
He really had very few options.
He had no option. So he has to say that. I mean, Pakistan had become the largest concentration of CIA for a long time. And they had a very good deep-rooted infiltration in Pakistani politics and so on. And that has some extent changing the present relationship. Now the state has to take some actions, military action, which we don't agree what they are doing, but they have to take some actions against the fundamentalist group. So it's like a hide and really catch and hide game. It's changing. They still, some section want to keep it, but it's not the same what it was. And we see that difference also, because earlier when a terrorist would enter in Kashmir, Indian part of Kashmir, then they would say one person is martyred and 3 Indians are killed. So, and then that terminology is changed to some extent. Then it became extremist to enter in Kashmir, and 3 Indians were killed and 1 extremist was killed. But now that terminology has changed to terrorist. 1 terrorist has been killed.
But what about the camps on the ground, which you were talking about earlier?
Camps in Kashmir are closed. We have definitely some reports there, and our party has some good presence. And but madrasas are there, and there is a state subsidy of 3 billion rupees every year to these madrasas on the name of reforming madrasas. And this was a USAID project who wanted to modernize madrasas, and what they did, and that was 2004-2005 after 9/11. So a whole strategy was discussed. Some of the American ambassadors and some assistant secretary or secretary of state would come. They would visit a madrasa and they said there's a need to reform it, they need to change it. And Musharraf ministers or Musharraf himself say, this is not the same madrasa, it's a different madrasa, this is just ordinary school, it's a charity school on the name of religion, so we have to promote such schools. So what they said, okay, we will give you computers, we will give you equipment, and maybe computers can bring a new change in the mentality. So fundamentalists after 2004-2005 got all the support from the Americans, and they used it very well for their own ends. So their communication became better, and you see the height of Taliban's growth was really 2005-2006 after their initial retreat in 2001, where they went underground, and then they re-emerged in Afghanistan, and that was after 2003 government of fundamentalists in Northwest Frontier Province and in Balochistan. And in Balochistan, fundamentalists were having a joint government with the Muslim League Kaf, which was Musharraf government. So the 2 provinces next to Afghanistan having madrasas with the computers from US aid gave full support to Taliban. So Taliban re-emerged, and whole Swat Valley, which was the tourist area of Pakistan, was empty, and it was all bumming. So the state has to do it to really change their relationship to some extent. But now the water has become another issue. So you can't say really it is gone, it's changing.
So you have hopes that the Pakistan state will be able to, in some sense, keep the jihadi or the fundamentalist elements at bay while consolidating itself?
I don't think so. Because the whole infrastructure in Pakistan is really promoting fundamentalism. The syllabus in the schools was totally changed under General Ziaul Haq in the 80s, and they promote fundamentalism. And then you have all the madrasas, and government has no policy of sort of nationalization of the larger madrasas, not every little thing. They are still getting that subsidy from the state. And also the basis of Pakistan is very religious. It's a very right-wing society. It's a very reactionary society in a sense, where every single paisa of charity ends up in the coffers of the fundamentalist.
Farooq, what you are saying would amount to, in that sense, in the long term then, of this problem of fundamentalism in the subcontinent, of course, which involves Pakistan as well as India, not only Islamic fundamentalism but also Hindu fundamentalism in Indian politics, that this would actually continue to remain unless we can break it in some other way, break the social base itself.
That's right, and the military solution which General Musharraf started, and now the People's Party government has continued, and the Americans has introduced that, is no solution to really end of religious fundamentalism. We live a very fearful life because of the policies of the Americans and also of the present People's Party government, of this policy that they can crush fundamentalism through military means.
So what we would say is that along with military actions, what they need to do, or what Pakistan state needs to do, is also attack the social basis of fundamentalism, without which this will not really work.
I think Pakistan state, the nature of Pakistan state has to change.
Before that can happen.
Yes, the recent amendments, 18th amendment, was really an elite amendments. It just touched who should have more power, Prime Minister or the President. It has, they said that the chairperson of the committee, parliamentary committee, Raza Rabbani, very respected person, he said, we have not touched any of the constitution area which was known as Qaraardad-e-Maqasid, the purpose of the resolution, the Islamic sites. He said, we have not touched a single aspect of that. Now, Pakistan constitution is an Islamic constitution which is very discriminatory against non-Muslims. A non-Muslim can never become president, and they are discriminatory against women. And there are clauses which which really bring the hold of religion on the state. So state control, religion control the state, and until we separate that, and it needs really a dramatic revolutionary reform in Pakistan. And these Nawaz Sharifs and Zardaris can't do it. They just want to continue the same status. Whatever demagogy they have about rule of law, about democracy, they are in fact promoting the same old trends of religious fundamentalism by not changing the basis of the state, which is theocratic, which is reactionary, which is discriminatory. Until we change that, and also we need really to change the priority of the budget. Now at present the military takes it all. It's military as a repayment of the loans. Over 80% of budget goes in these two areas, and now they have renegotiated some new loans. $52 billion Pakistan owes at present time. It was only 35 like 6 years before. So it's jumping up all the time, and so most of the money goes to unproductive things. Less than 2% is spent on education. Less than 1% is spent on health. So when you don't change that, 35% literacy rate, what a shame for 63 years of so-called independence that we can't have even 35% literacy rate in Pakistan. Because the whole mentality is feudal, whole mentality is dominated with there is a God up and we are the God on the land.
So basically we have to look at how to change the Pakistan society as well as the constitution before we can think of how, along with thinking of how to combat fundamentalism. Thank you, Farooq. This has been a great pleasure having you with us. Hope that we will see you more in India and we can meet again. Thanks.
Thank you very much.